Hey everybody, Jason Holland with Jason Holland Fishing, bringing you the real secrets how to punch the grass for bass. So this time of year, summertime, grass mats are up across our lakes here in Tennessee. Chickamauga, Nickajack are fantastic lakes to go out and punch these matted up hydrilla flats for bass. And really, what does that mean? So punching the grass is exactly what it sounds like. You take a heavy weight with a big hook and you take it and you flip it out and it punches through the grass and gets down underneath where those bass are hiding. So today we're going to talk about the real secrets of how you rig that here, and also going to talk about how you fish that a little bit. So start with the rod, the reel, and the line. My personal choice is the Cashin fishing rods. This is the punch rod. Literally says right here on it, so it makes it pretty easy to understand what it's for. It is a 7-foot, 11-inch, super extra heavy-duty rod with the fast action, and you really need that long, stiff rod to pull the bass out of that thick, matted-up grass. Got it teamed with a Lew's Super Duty with 65-pound Suffix 832 braid. I like 65-pound braid. It works very, very well. It's not overly thick that you have to fight it all day, but still has enough strength to horse those bass out. So let's talk about the rig itself. Really, the rig is just an oversized, beefed up version of the Texas rig. And so we got some components here we're going to kind of talk through. Again, this is 65-pound braid. And a couple things that you're going to need. First and foremost, you start with the bobber stopper. These are just plain old bobber stoppers. You can pick them up anywhere, Academy, Bass Pro, Walmart. And they're, again, plain bobber stoppers. And the way that these work is twofold. One, you want to keep your weight and your hook and everything compressed and real compact as you're punching through there. The second piece is it gives you the ability to turn around and run dual weights, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But to use the bobber stopper, if you see, it's got a little bit of a loop here built directly into the product. So you take your line, you run it through that loop, and then you're just going to pull it out. And this is what you get. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Now, the next thing you'll do is you'll put on your weight. Now, you want to use the lightest weight you possibly can get to get away with that will still punch through the grass mats effectively. I recommend tungsten weight. It's much more dense, it's much heavier, but in a smaller package. So I got a couple samples. This is a 1 ounce weight, this is a 2 ounce weight, and we'll rig it up here with the 2 ounce weight. So again, we got our bobber stopper on here. We're going to thread on our 2 ounce weight. Pretty straightforward. And then from there, we're going to use a couple different, we got 2 different hook options, but these are straight shank flipping hooks. This is a VMC heavy duty flipping hook, and this is the new Gamakatsu super heavy cover hook. And really what the design for is, one, it's a straight shank, but number 2, they're extremely beefed up. They're very sharp, obviously, but they're thicker so that when you set the hook on them, you won't have any give in your hook and you won't have any flexing, which has a tendency to the bass to get off that way. So definitely use a good 4/0, 5/0 flipping hook. It'll definitely help your fishing and land more bass. So take either one of these, and we're going to use this VMC real quick. I'm going to pop it out of the package, and we're going to tie a knot. So I like to use a snell knot and for a flipping hook. So you go down here through the bottom like so. So you're going through the hook point up, you run that tag in through here, then you make a loop. And what I'm doing, if you can see, is I'm pinching that loop right there. And then you're going to make 5 loops. Now we're going to make some really quick loops here just for the demonstration's sake. But from there, what you're going to do is you've got this loop here on the top, if you can see that or not. And then we're going to take our tag in and run it back right through that loop. And then we're going to cinch everything together, and it's going to come out like that. That is a snell knot. Now, typically you want to wrap it 4 to 5 times, and that gives you a really good, strong knot. And so now what happens is, well, let me click off the tag in, so we'll have a decent looking rig here to look at. Okay, tag ends off. And then we're gonna let our weight come down, and then we're gonna pull down our bobber stopper. And this is what your rig is gonna look like. Now, you see how the hook is actually pivoting up? That's really important. So when you set the hook and you pull up, that hook pivots and swings up. You can see that, it swings up, and that's what's gonna drive that hook directly into the roof of their mouth. So that snell knot and the straight shank hook are really important when you're punching the grass mats. The other things that you can do are a couple things. One, this is called a punch skirt, and you will just put that in between your hook and your weight. Gives it a much like a jig. Now the question comes up, well, why don't you use a jig? Well, the reason you can't use a jig in real thick hydrilla is that even though it has a stiff weed guard, it's still going to get hung up too much, so you need a weedless presentation. Or another thing you can do is you can put a red bead, which protects your knot from your weight going up and down. So a couple little tricks that you can do. Now, soft plastics real quick. My two favorite. Standard, go-to, this is really the most used, is Missile D-Bomb. Super soft, great colors. It is a wonderful product for punching the grass mats. I also like the Berkeley Havoc 4-inch Pit Boss. Got some really cool colors as well. Has a little bit more action than the D-Bomb. So pair this rig up with these two. Now, when it comes to actually punching the mat, what you're going to do is you're going to kind of a pendulum motion. You're going to swing that underhand, and it's going to go hit the top of the mat and actually punch through the grass mat. Hence the name, punching the grass for bass. So get out, go Nickajack, Chickamauga. Even if you're here locally on Old Hickories, there's some grass mats. Try this technique. It'll definitely help you catch more bass. Come check out Jason Holland Fishing, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Love to connect with you. Thanks, and we'll see you next time on The Real Secrets.